the 26th of April 1986, near the city of Pripyat in Ukraine, a disastrous catastrophe had taken place. The reactor Unit 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant had broken down, which led to its explosion and subsequently to radioactive contamination of the vast area. In a short period of time, over 350,000 people were evacuated and resettled. A restricted zone was designated around this power plant, which extends to many kilometers. All buildings within this zone, including the surrounding city, were abandoned. At the beginning of February 1987, 9 months after the disaster, a team of scientists from the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, which measured radiation in this exclusion zone, received signals that proved the existence of people operating in this area. Also, various unexplained anomalies had been discovered, which could have resulted from a type of radiation previously unknown to scientists. It turned out that near the city of Pripyat, the S.W.A.N. Institute was also located here. Its name comes from the abbreviation Syndrome Without a Name, the term given to the group of symptoms that do not occur in any known and catalogued disease. The facility was unofficially conducting a research program on unprecedented and very disturbing neurological and psychological disorders for many years. After the disaster, the institute was omitted during the evacuation operation because it was not included on any map. Only a few people from the USSR Ministry of Internal Affairs knew about its existence, but after the Chernobyl accident, they chose not to perform rescue operations on its territory. Scientists received details regarding the institute's scope of activity from an anonymous person. The facility was top secret and cut off from the rest of the world. People were sent there from all over the globe, and each medical case was unique in its own way. Because of the extraordinary abilities resulting from unexplored and undiagnosed diseases, patients were a threat to the environment. They were caged up and lived in strict isolation. This entire situation was kept secret from people outside the government, other than the few scientists who were made aware of the institute's activities. Scientists from the Moscow Institute, experts from the General Nuclear Inspectorate of Ukraine, and the rescue staff decided to send a special research and rescue expedition immediately to clarify the source of the anomalies and to save people who might still be alive. The group was commanded by Alexei Tokovsky, a rescue specialist. After determining the exact coordinates of the facility, the group reached the place and got inside. However, all people were separated and lost contact with each other in unexplained circumstances. To all the people whose life changed irreversibly after the events of April 1986 in Chernobyl.
Her medical case was exciting and nightmarish at the same time. 1. I have no idea why, but this monotonous and seemingly funny melody made this woman appear from practically nowhere. 3. It is a contrast of sorts. How a completely innocent sound was a foretelling or an omen of the atrocity to come. 9. Horrifying beauty. 4. For some time now, the dimensions have been increasing. It is time to end this. Luckily, we were able to finish the mind reader prototype. Connecting it to a human brain was troublesome at first, but the procedure gives expected results, and the device can be used after entering the intermediary room. Something incredible was achieved here. Something gargantuan. First there was Gagarin, and the first man travels into space. And now we are also multidimensional travelers. If only the world could hear about this.
an entity born from experiments that had been taking place in this institute. Those who had witnessed my creation called me the S.W.A.N phenomenon. I developed my own consciousness, and I exist trapped between reality and abstract space-time. I was never a regular person, even though I vividly remember the time when I lived free as a human. My condition was incredibly difficult, and no medical doctor could help me. The symptoms increased to such a point I was becoming a danger to myself and my surroundings. I then got rejected by my family and persecuted by various people. They tried to kill me. One day, I received a message from a professor who said he was familiar with my case and thought he could try to help me. He claimed to be the founder and director of a specialist facility for people with rare, unknown and dangerous ailments. I was supposed to be put to various tests and undertake experimental treatment methods. Yes, Professor Andrei Kaidanovsky. I saw you getting into his office. Even his notes speak of what despicable man he is. Departure for the Institute was a blessing to me, an escape from a life full of suffering and becoming sicker by the day. Only here was I given a glimpse of hope, a slight shadow of a chance for a cure. For the first time, someone had reached out a helping hand. When I met Kaidanovsky, he was extremely kind-hearted, promising his full involvement in my conditions research and attempts to bring me back to full health. Everything changed when the research has started. I very quickly realized that something else was the main objective here, but it was too late to back out. People like me got locked up in here and were kept by force. They were used for research on obtaining and isolating. It is a factor present in anybody infected with a S.W.A.N type disease. It makes them unique and grants special abilities, not necessarily good ones. According to the professor, due to the incredible power of my symptoms, I was a great potential source. At the same time, the level of complexity of my illness was extremely high. Experimental methods used by Kaidanovsky did nothing. It frustrated him greatly, triggered some inhuman thanks to the power of all the devices constructed especially for me. The factor had finally left my... At this moment, Portal's creation destabilizes your human reality. Changes happening in parallel dimensions. It is not to be excluded. After my incident, various you shall find out in due time, as I'm sure we'll meet again. In a moment, you will enter the so-called intermediary room. It is a place between the human world and the extra-dimensional one. That's where you get to the memory wasteland, one of the parallel dimensions. That's where the dimension's creator's thoughts are stored and form the foundation for the dimension's existence. When you destroy them, you return to the Institute, and the dimension ceases to exist. Maybe you'll find more portals when you explore the corridors. Remember, each of them means somebody's death.
I have only one piece here.
Nadi filter system is our most recent invention. The patient's visions have become so strong and clear, and so far removed from the laws of physics at the same time, that their reflections imprinted in new parallel dimensions, as well as in the thinner layers of space-time continuum. The need for better understanding of those visions and the essence of their evolution has encouraged us to construct a special device that filters information stored the thin layers of dimensions parallel to ours. convinced of the existence of S.W.A.N factor. Since the beginning, I've believed it is achievable and I can obtain it. If that were not the case, this whole project, institute, equipment, personnel, none of this would have existed. Everything comes down to one thing. There is one goal to it all. The discovery and extraction of a factor which makes each individual case unique among all the medical cases collected here and displays its own abilities. The military is expecting results. As long as they are paying, the works shall continue.
is a mystery you need to discover yourself. I saw you have learned how to use the mind reader. Did you see the message when leaving the way? It is the last wish of the person. It is quite probable, but they are symbols of light. You shall find. Keep on walking, and you shall see the truth. Know only this: the Institute's walls have